For Dallas Sound Guys, this is Scott. We just wrapped up a 3-day conference, and I thought maybe I would actually do a detailed yet brief going over of everything that I brought, which is typical for a lot of my events also. So I have a 14 space rack that's by Pro X, and I use this rack all the time. I've got a Radial Engineering, I think it's called a P2 power conditioner. It's got the light. I have 2 Netgear switches for Dante. There's a primary and there's a redundant. My colors are blue, red for redundant. And so then I also try to use the colors, the blue cabling for primary, red cabling for redundant. The primary also carries control for things like Yamaha control on my Yamaha, or excuse me, for Shure control on the Yamaha board. So that's why you're gonna see like some black cables and some white cables also. There's a brush pass-through. I have an antenna distro, the UA845. New this summer is the AD600, the Axient Digital Spectrum Manager. Man, this thing is super cool, and I'm really excited to have added this to my arsenal. I've got an Axient Quad, 2 duals. I have another dual that's in a smaller rack. And right now for a charger, I can do 4 of the SB, I think these are the 910 batteries for the body packs, the ADX1 body packs. And then these others are still the SB900 batteries. And so I can do 4 of them there. I do have a module for the ADX handhelds. I'm just gonna have to get another rack module though, or another charging module. So in here is a drawer that has transmitters. I don't like that they're all in the bags. Gotta have some snacks too. But that's what I've got for now. I do have some foam cutouts for mics, but I just can't fit enough mics in this drawer. What the future plan is to get a work box that's gonna have the antennas, it's gonna have DIs, it's gonna have some power, it's gonna have some XLR, and it's gonna have all the transmitters. It'll have the face mics, all the essentials. Also, I have my APC, a C1500 in here, so a battery. It had shown I was drawing, I think it was 4.5 amps, and it shows that I have 26 minutes remaining if we lost power. This rack, the lids also act as tables, so that works out super handy. Sitting on top of the lamp shelf, actually. So I've got my iPad mini where I've got a Spotify playlist, and then side by side I have photos open where I have the schedule for the event. So that's what we had going on. I'll use 2 body packs and 1 handheld. I picked up a KSM9 capsule and super happy with it. So ADX2, a pair of ADX1, I have some other ADX transmitters. I was running Workbench, and you can also view the batteries as well. I also have a portable docking charger that is for the ADX transmitters. I've got the 2 handheld batteries in there. The handheld could also just sit in here if you wanted, or the body pack could as well. That way you can charge the batteries without taking them out of the transmitter. I have my Pelican. Not gonna go through that, but I had that sitting right here. Power was coming from the wall. Okay, next up, an iPad that was run off of my, connected to my router, connected to my Yamaha board. Sorry for the glare, I'll stand on the side. So I've got a DM7 Compact. I've had this, it was a year in February, so almost a year and a half. I love this board, it is so amazing. I would love to get my hands on a full size at some point, but actually the Compact works great for me. It's got 72 channels, and I just never come close to that. So it's got 12 faders and then 4 on the side. You can, of course, like just on inputs, go through different layers of 12. Maybe it'll help here if I show this view. But I will set up some, boy, sorry for the glare, some smart, let me try to do this standing here, smart keys where I can look at just my mics, or I can look at just my computers. I have this set up, just my outputs or my groups. And then I have one called Show, and this is what I use most of the time. So in this case, I was looking at 2 lavs for our keynotes, a handheld, the KSM9 that was used for all just kind of housekeeping and announcements and so on. I had another handheld that we actually didn't use. I had a podium mic set up, not actually physically set up, but set up on the board, and we didn't have a podium at this time. This is my 5th year helping with this event. I had Spotify running, I had a PowerPoint computer, and they were running some videos and so on. We had a vocalist playing guitar, so I had his vocal mic, I had his guitar, he had off his phone, he was running a pad off of just some chords in the background, and then his monitor. Then over here, I had a short verb, a long verb, a vocal delay, and then just the mains in case I needed to bring the mains up or down. Sorry for the weird view, this glare is really bad, there's a window behind me. We'll look at the back here in just in a sec, but let's move down to the next rack. So this is totally separate, they're not connected. So this is my video rack. I've got a just a power, not really a power distro, but just a power unit up on top. Dual display Blackmagic. I've got my switcher. This is the Constellation 2ME. I have a hyperdeck, which I never use for recording because I don't have any cameras. Another brush pass through. I have a switch. And then in these drawers, I have a collection of just some basic SDI. I've got some HDMI, I've got adapters, I've got other adapters, like some adapters I was using for computer number 2, actually was over here. I used a Perfect Q for their clicker, and then I had HDMI, I think it fell over the back, but for computer number 1. I was using a Radial stage bug, just a real simple DI for their audio. And I'll tell you, these are some of the coolest power strips. You can find them on Amazon. Looks like the brand, I've never even pictured what the brand is, Adtum. But this helps with power supplies because you can plug on all sides. If I just have an older power strip just on top, they always seem to go front to back, and if I plug a wall wart in, they all get in the way. This also has some USB plug-ins, so this works out really well. I had one over here, so I was charging an iPad, I was charging my laptop on the side over here, then I was charging the router. Okay, let's take a look in the back. I also have some text around here as well. If we look at the video switcher, I had found a 3D printed Blackmagic design adapter. These are the bidirectional SDI to HDMI. This is on Etsy. I've never bought anything on that in my life, but someone had this so that I could have the SDI from the back of the adapter going to the switcher. So all I need to do is plug in laptop 1, HDMI, run it to his laptop. Laptop 2, HDMI. That saves a ton of time. Let's take a look at the mess back here, the back of the rack. I have a vent up top and on bottom for airflow. I have a brush through on top and bottom for cables, and it's all wired for Dante. Okay, what else? We have shark fin antennas. And then this is the Shure AD610. It's an access point. So this is what allows the ADX transmitters and Workbench all to talk through the network. That this is talking through on Wi-Fi channels to the transmitters, such that if I need to change the frequency, and that happened during this event where one of the lavs started looking pretty sketchy, and I just clicked next best channel, and this changes it on the body pack, as well as changing it on the receiver. No more do I have to swap out transmitters, run up there, change the frequency. It's one of the coolest parts of the ADX setup. Okay, I have a Shure, a JBL SRX powered sub, an 18. We used a pair of QSE K8.2s. I ran a 50-foot audio snake, an analog snake. That way for Clinton, our artist, I gave him an EV monitor I gave him, he got a Stage Bug DI for his phone for the pad. I had a Pro DI from Radial for his guitar. I gave power for him because he had a pedal board. Gave him a mount for his phone. We had a 43-inch confidence monitor, run SDI to that, where in the back we have another Blackmagic design bi-directional converter. I had a mic stand up front. This is where the handheld, the KSM9 was. That way they could just walk up front, grab the mic. Okay, wrapping things up. We have a 8-foot Da-Lite fast fold screen. We have an Epson EB775F laser projector, short throw. Here is our other K8.2 on a gravity stand. I love these stands. We had not quite 20 feet of pipe and drape. Behind the curtain, I have my mic work box where I have all my mics, 4-band, DIs, wired ears, which we didn't use, and any kind of power, like power stringers and so on. A couple more items. So I have a 1/4 pack case for XLR, a 1/4 pack case for power, and then I bought a Fiasco case. These things are super nice. This is a 24 by 60, so think of it as 2 1/4 packs end to end, like these two cases if they were just one case end to end. And this allows me to put things such as stands, and especially that gravity stand in here. Okay, about time to strike. Thanks for walking through this 12-minute video with me. Pretty typical setup. Even if it's a larger event, then the PA changes, and obviously the video changes. We had no lighting on this, but front of house, this seems to be my bread and butter right here. I do have a smaller setup, of course, where I have a Yamaha DM3 and a couple channels of Axient just in one rack. Those are in some other videos. But this is what I use on most of my events. If you have any questions or comments, there's probably a whole lot of obvious stuff I skipped right over, and I apologize for that, but let me know. And on my next event, I can call to mind to maybe talk about those things too. Okay, thanks for hanging out with me.